Should I say FCK it and move away with a guy I met? 18F, have no money, no family, no one help me out. I'm in Germany as an au pair, but my time here is up. I met this really nice Australian guy, 22M, who was passing by in Europe just visiting. After a few drinks, he invited me out, and I told him my life story. He offered to go over to Germany and stay with me while I found an Ausbildung, but unfortunately, I wasn't qualified for any of them. So he offered to help me get to Australia and get me a job and marry me so I could have the permanent partner visa in Australia, and he'd be paying for pretty much all of it. While in his trip he also spent a lot of money in accommodation and I paid mostly for the food. We got along very well and he seems to have all the qualities I'd like in my future husband. I've met his roommates on FaceTime, and I've seen his parents' house. He tells me his dad isn't very convinced about the entire situation, but it's ultimately up to him. Problem is, IDK if I should, and if I do, what opportunities are there for foreigners? Should I get an Australian citizenship as well? Should I say FCK it? I don't have any reason not to. P.S. For the people talking about me being 18 and having a realm of opportunities and possibilities, I don't. I'm alone, broke, I can't go back to my parents since my mom trafficked me in exchange of the American citizenship. I've already been abducted, isolated, and abused, and I ran away when I turned 16 and lived with a boyfriend from church about 6 years older than me. Unfortunately, he got cancer and died last year, leaving me with a ton of debt. That's why I can't go back. DM I don't want to go back, but I also can't stay in Germany. Edit, how we met. Why I feel he's not a freak. I went to Munich for a weekend and stayed at a hostel, and through the Hostel World app one met a girl, let's call her Sam. I was supposed to meet with her early but I was in Neuschwanstein, really far away, so I told her I'd hang out with them around 7 p.m. When I got back it was around 8 and she had already met up with a few other people and invited me to join the group. In this group I met the guy, let's call him Jim. Sam told me I'd meet up with him on the entrance of the bar to show me where they were, and we didn't stop hanging out, drank a lot, took pictures together, followed each other in Instagram and played cards until like 3 in the morning. I said bye to Sam, and my hostel was a bit further than theirs, but the tramp was already off, so I had to walk about 30 minutes, but there were a lot of people still out and about. However, he noticed and felt bad letting me, 18-year-old defenseless and a lone girl, walk back to her hostel, so he joined in. We were already at his hostel, thought. I told him I'd be okay and he could just go in and stay, but he said that was ridiculous and I shouldn't be walking alone at night in the middle of the city. I don't know. The entire way he told me what he did and he asked me questions back, but always kept like a 4-foot distance, and when I made a joke about him making me uncomfortable he said he'd go back if that was the case since he did not want to make me uncomfortable. Once I got to my hostel I went in, he didn't follow me. We said bye and I thought it'd be polite to send him a text letting me know when he got home, but I struggled a bit with insomnia and the night had actually went pretty well and he was still jet-lagged, so I asked him if he wanted to meet up again. He stayed up until 6 a.m. and went to bed for about 2 hours. We didn't have sex, and he came with me to the train station and I went back to my town. We stayed in contact while he was backpacking in Europe. He went to France, Luxembourg, England, and this small island somewhere close to Ireland. He sent me pics all throughout, spoke every day, stayed on the phone all night, and he extended his work stay and flight to spend Christmas with me. He rented a car and we went to Salzburg, Nuremberg, Regensburg, Innsbruck, and then I had to go back to work for a week, so he waited in Munich till I got off and then we spent 2 weeks together in Munich. While in Munich, we met up again with Sam and had a really good time together. We had sex the day before he left for Australia. It was very sentimental, and we hugged the entire time. He told me to think my options over, that going to my parents and going to college was probably my best option. But like I said, that's a lie. I don't have parents and I can't go to college, but I'd always be welcome to move to Australia. Once he got there he showed me his house, where I could work, met his parents and friends. I'll be honest with you, my gut tells me it'll be okay. But rather, what should I do if I do move there? I saw a comment where I shouldn't marry him and that I should keep extra money saved up just in case, to be very careful and have a plan B. But what can my plan B be? Confession 2. Will I be the a-hole if I grant my fiancé his wish of living alone? My 34F fiancé, 27M, and I are going through a very rough patch in our relationship right now. I caught him lying several times about various things, and he started going to a bar after work, which means he is getting drunk every single evening. We were more fighting than talking, until we sat our asses down and talked about us. We didn't wanted to give up our relationship and decided to fight for it. So far so good, but apparently my fiancé keeps forgetting that fact about us. Every time he comes home drunk he starts talking again about how horrible I am, how much he resents his life with me and so on. Every time I ask him to specify what he means he names something we are already working on, to which he always asks me how come I don't see changes. Bear in mind that we had this talk no more than a week ago and most of those problems are not something you can change overnight. These things need time and patience and a lot of healing on both our sides. Anyhow, it's now 4 a.m. now where we live. He came home around 3 a.m., drunk, of course. As he was lying in bed next to me, he kept saying how he only drinks because he is so unhappy, that he can't live his life the way he wants it to. That this is of course my problem, but mainly his because he doesn't want to hurt my feelings. If he wouldn't have such a soft heart he would already be gone, and so on and so on. He ended with the sincere wish to life alone. And I was so fed up. Yes, his words hurt, but not as much as they used to. For weeks, if not months, we had such talks late at night, although we would at least stop yelling at one another in the past week. And now I am thinking, what if I grant him his wish? I won't wake him up tomorrow to bring our child to school, it's mine from a previous relationship. I won't cook him lunch, won't buy the groceries he loves so much. Only clean parts of our apartment that I and or the child made dirty, only do our dishes, plan our days completely without him. Oh, you're running low on underwear? You ought to be really doing your laundry then, 'cause I won't do it. Your work clothes are dirty. You wanted to live alone, get to it. It will take hours for them to get clean and dry, and while I am at it, I also won't remind you of the time so that you can get to work on time, and I sure as hell won't pick you up anymore when you missed your train home. On the other hand, he is always a completely different person once he slept enough and got sober. He always is terribly sorry and tries his best to be nice to me. I think it would hurt him, but I don't know if I even care enough anymore. I also think that my behavior would be incredibly childish. This is clearly his attempt to push me away. We had struggled in the past because of that, but were able to work through it, and I think such feelings should be discussed with his therapist. Also, if I stop buying groceries for him he can't eat at all, since he is also struggling financially. So, whipter if I grant him his wish by showing him what living alone would mean for him? Edit. Because I forgot to include some info I wanted to type initially. We are together for 3 years, 5 years were simply perfect, best relationship we both ever had. That he told me he had been unhappy for the past year really came out of the blue. I would have never thought that. I tried talking about his drinking, of course I did, from being nice, to demanding change, to offering help, to threaten to just dump him at the nearby hospital, even tried giving him an ultimatum, but his answer is always the same. That won't work, I am not an addict, I can stop whenever I want to. I just don't want to. He also said it's just a phase. I stopped talking about that afterwards. It's just frustrating that he can't see he has a severe problem. He already lost his driver's license because of the drinking.
Confession 3. Wife seems very happy talking to coworker who she works with till late night alone. Is this okay? My wife and I have been married for about a year. She is 31 and I am 29. She recently got a job in retail and talks to a male coworker a lot, and she seems very happy when she does. Let's call the coworker Dave. He is my wife's boss and he is single. She works with Dave at least twice a week, and it is only them at the store when they work together, and they work till 11 p.m. at night. And they talk to each other a lot. First time she talked about her, she said they have the same birthday and she would buy him a gift, and now she has stopped talking about him and said now the coworker has a girlfriend. My wife is 31 and the coworker is 30 and I am 29. Let's call the coworker Dave. My wife has usually said she likes tall guys, and he is very tall and her ex was tall as well. Dave looks like a guy she would like. Today when she left to work she was very upset and mad at me and told me mean things, but when she arrived at work she was happy possibly seeing him and talking to him and said she was sorry. It is normal for her to talk to a coworker like that a lot. Today she was sitting down in a very abnormal way working and talking to Dave, and when I arrived Dave immediately left, and the first thing my wife said was, "Oh, I was just talking about you to him." I had told her that I don't want her talking to other men like that because she also does not want me to talk to other women. Once I was talking about a problem with a female coworker, she got really mad at me and said you should not talk to her even though she knew it was for work and she was there. But still she keeps talking to him and she seems to be very happy about it. When I tell her don't do that, she says she is gonna quit her job, and I say just be professional. Why would you have to talk about social and private stuff with him? But she keeps doing it. What do you think about this? Am I being irrational?